It's like we the biggest. Nobody in the city can say they accomplished what we did. Me and John, we been away, we been created the drip. They been trying to copy us. They hated to see what we was creating. They didn't want to see us make it far, but we kept going and we never stopped. I feel like ever since high school, we always just stick to the script, and like we just knew what it took to get to where we wanted to be, and we just knew we needed to strive harder than anybody else. I remember times when we didn't really have nothing, but we just made anything and just made shit happen. Like sometimes you just gotta go outside your way just to follow your dream and just, you know, make these people just understand where you really trying to go. And I feel like that's what we really did for the city. And now we just, you know, created a whole type of wave out here where people could know exactly who we are and just know that we ain't coming here to play. So I made a promise that I ain't never gonna stop until they put me in the grave. It's forever the Bay.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Whoa! Peace, beloved, peace. It's your homie Young Content, the unofficial sensei of the culture, mastering youthfulness, contentment, NFTs, and apparently wearing the same outfit for 5 days. Forgive me, okay? I'm busy. And honestly, I think you could wash every 2-3 days. You could wear things for 3 days. But how is everyone doing? How's your mind? How's your energy? Let's tell Grandma that we're live with Robbie Trevino, the one and only. He's safe. He's fine. Can you hear me, guys? Are you there? Okay, cool. We're good? We're live? Do I have to... let me put the soundbite real quick. The favorite soundbite that you guys love. Make sure you retweet the stream. Ask questions, but it's going to be a really fun time. I'm super excited to actually get to talk to this man. I met him in NFT NYC in a pizza bar with Ben Morrow. He was sitting right next to us, and I didn't know I was sitting next to a legend. Did a bond, took a selfie, and he has a project, Numinous, and it's a bunch of stuff that we have to unpack with Robbie Trevino. But I want to say we're doing it live. Here it goes.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
I don't know who that is again. I think his name's something O'Reilly, but that guy's super funny. We are live. Love Star Wars. He has a plethora of things. But yeah, tell grandma, all right? Tell her to get the cherry juice out. We're live. And without further ado, let's bring in the homie, Robbie Trevino, the one and only. Sheesh.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
What's up, beloved? The ninjas got you in the dojo. Are you safe? I know they kidnapped you to get you in the dojo. You good?
I'm
Everything
good. I'm good. I'm Gucci. Everything's good.
No scars?
No, not too bad. Couple bumps and bruises, but nothing crazy, you know.
For sure, dude. How's your mind? How's your energy today, Robbie? Thanks for being on the show. The number 70, the 73rd episode.
73, nice. One time I did an episode of a podcast and I was number 69, and I was like, nice. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but
was that like good luck for you? Did you get like good luck after that podcast?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I just like I was happy with the number, you know, but like I can't. It was a minute ago, but no, I'm good, man. I mean, the vibes are good. It's Friday. I don't really have weekends anymore. I haven't for like 5 years now. So like it's just another day to me, but it's like a good day. And that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. What about you? How's your week?
For sure. I mean, it's been good. The dojo knows. It's just been going crazy. It's been a lot of sci-fi NFT action going on. Huxley, you got Watcher, Parallel, and now you are on. It's like the final cherry on top. So for anybody that doesn't know who Robbie Trevino is, he's a conceptual artist, illustrator based in Seattle, specialized in surreal and sci-fi illustrations and design. Following a childhood love of all things mechanically and biologically designed, he studied at a traditional art school and has worked professionally in AAA games, TV, film, you name it. Some of his clients include Lucasfilms, Tool, Deadmau5, Magic the Gathering, Netflix, Love, Death and Robots, Valve, Xbox, Mondo, 3D Total, ArtStation, Pixel Vault. You were part of the Punks comic?
I was the art director on the first issue, yeah.
Dude, that's why Walshy was always saying that was you. That's you?
I mean, for issue 1, issue 2, you know, Chris Wall just kind of took it and like, you know, he's made a whole galaxy out of it. But yeah, I helped him get issue 1 out the door, essentially.
Dude, you are entrenched in the chakras of NFTs. For sure.
I definitely jumped in with both feet for sure. It was just too enticing, man.
Damn. So that blows my mind. I'm gonna get some lo-fi music playing under here so we can set the mood. But from that elevator pitch, that was awesome. But for those who don't know, who else is Robbie Trevino in this game?
Lover of Taco Bell, all things outdoors, huge car fanatic. I love cars. I'm in Seattle currently, but I'm from the Detroit area originally. So like Motor City, you know, I'm all about the vehicles. Yeah, I mean, really at the end of the day, like I know like we've made this connection through like the realm of NFTs, but like I'm just an artist. I'm just a builder. NFTs are a facet of that creative journey, but like, you know, I'll work on anything, and I'm working on like skateboards right now. I'm working on like a shoe. I'm working on actually for Deadmau5 a car wrap for his McLaren. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. It's not just one thing, you know. I want to do everything. So yeah, definitely trying to walk more than one path on this artistic journey.
Can you do me a favor and lift your chair up a little more?
Oh yeah, hold up.
Because that'll just get that perfect border inside there. Sorry. Boom.
Hold up. Okay, actually, if I just don't be a fucking goblin and just kind of like correct my posture a little bit, you know. There you go. And you can see the Ava drip and like everything.
Brendan says landed. Saul says yep, audio is good. Yeah, is his audio good too? Let me know in the chat. Brendan says geez, we are live. Love Star Wars. A bunch of that stuff is crazy. How did you get into NFTs, man?
I mean, basically, I was making money, like fiat money, you know, like the ways of old, that paper, that archaic stuff that should be in a museum. Yeah, right. And I was actually working on a job, and I'd kind of seen from a distance, like, you know, Beeple and like other, I think maybe this is just before Mad Dog Jones. This is like in like January or February. I saw the Beeple stuff happening, and I'd followed Beeple for like, geez, I don't know, 5-6 years. So I was like, I kind of thought of him as like this, you know, this a deity, this artist who, like, if something happens to Beeple, that might as well be happening to a celebrity. Like you know, and I saw he was doing NFTs, and I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't have time to look into it. Kind of sounds like some bullshit to me, honestly. I don't think it's Beeple, you know, whatever. And then as more of my friends started getting into the space, you know, like Victor Mosquera was one of them. I mean him go back, you know, I'd seen like Aphoria. I'd seen other artists I admired too, like Justin Mahler, Blake Catherine. Like more people just started kind of going into the space, and I was like, oh, like this is like more people are doing this. And then people started DMing me like, you know, you should look into this. And I was like, I for a while there, like with a lot of things, people, they kind of just go, I don't have time to look into this. But then I did, because it's just too many people were like, tell me about it. And I started seeing it kind of like popping up in the art circles. And yeah, I think it was what really sold me on it was I think it was Mad Dog Jones's I think it was Crash and Burn, whichever was like the big one that was like boom, can you believe like this crazy thing that happened on Nifty Gateway. And then I started doing like the research into it, and you know, it was just a matter of like applying to platforms. And the first two places I applied to were Nifty Gateway and Super Rare, and I got in pretty quick with them, which was fortunate. And then began the like, you know, the parabolic rise where it was just like 5,000 people fitting through this single door frame, you know, like you got that foundation invite, like did you apply to Super Rare? Like it was just madness between like March and April. I'd say like it was just white hot market, sales happening every day, people like changing their lives like every day. It was crazy. It's complete madness.
I love that.
And it was like a total like reset too, because I found myself in discords with like other artists of all walks of life. I mean, I was in a Twitter chat with like James Jean was in there, right? But then there was also just like random artists who have never made money off their art at all. And we all were like, we all got thrown into the prison yard. We don't have any weapons. Like it's a reset. Like none of us know what to do. Like we have to figure out what this is. And like the ecosystem wasn't quite established, and certainly not the way it was now. There weren't PFP communities. It was just like, wow, people are like buying NFTs for a lot of money, and like artists, you know, who haven't made any money or have already made some money off their art, just like don't understand what's happening but are interested in it. And we kind of just figured it out together. And it was like a very much a like everyone helping each other out with the onboarding. The first time I ever minted something, it was on Foundation. And I didn't even have a MetaMask, and you know, Baka Arts helped me like set that up and just like threw me some ETH for gas. And I was like, I barely even knew him, and I was like, I don't like do you have like PayPal? Like how do I pay you back? And he's like, dude, just get the next guys. And I did like a week later, and I don't even remember who it was, but yeah, it was like a paying it forward kind of thing. But it very much started like there's something happening. It might be some kind of I don't know what you want to call it, like a digital renaissance of some sort, but like whatever's happening, like you have a chance to be a part of this, like take it or leave it. And I was kind of like, I say I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. Like, and now here we are like a year later, but it feels like, you know, in NFT time, it's been like 10 years, right? So
here
like,
we are
we've been doing this for about a decade, right? So
absolutely.
We're pros at this point.
I love that. I know that, you know, talking to Maddie, DCL blogger, being in this space in 2017, we were all speculating, okay, we got land, and then the Super Rare thing came out, and everyone's like, oh, I gotta get Super Rare, I gotta buy Hackatiles, X copies, and then Foundation came. So that's pretty beautiful to see that our timelines. I was here, I was on Super Rare early. I don't know how. I still have a Super Rare account, but I feel like a fucking peon next to all the greatness that's in there. And it's like, now I'm just this space is evolving so fast. It's quantum leaping. I did tag you on a Twitter. If you could retweet that, that'd be cool. Bring the audience here, your side.
Yeah.
You look at your Twitter.
Let me take a look at Rooney.
Well, you've been a rock star. Meeting you in NFT NYC, you were genuine. You were talking to the people. What was that experience like, meeting Ben, you, and what was that like coming together with the different artists that you have found on Discord?
So like initially, like all IRL experiences, you know, there's a mixture of like, I thought you'd be taller, mixed with like, oh yeah, like this is exactly what I was expecting. Like nothing really surprised me, you know. Like there were a few people who like you know, they leaned into their personas, right? Like I met Richard and he had on like the 3D glasses, like his punk, you know, and like, you know, but then I'd also seen like Beeple and stuff, and he, you know, he's got pictures everywhere.
The wool
and
sweaters.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the sort of like button down, like dad type who's like works like a cubicle job or something, but he's like this bomb ass artist.
Yeah.
So like, also like I did see a lot of people who they were completely anonymous, and like I never would have guessed until they had told me like, oh, I'm this person, right? Like insert mysterious whale or Dow, and it's like 3 or 4 people and you meet them in person, like whatever the case may be. But I mean, like the vibes were all good. People were awesome. Very, you know, it was like a very supportive, very kind thing. I didn't really meet anyone that I disliked. And then it was even funnier running into someone like Ben completely randomly, like at a pizza joint at like 2 a.m. with you, because, you know, like Ben, so here in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, we've got a ton of game development studios, you know, like the big ones, like Bungie, Microsoft, Valve, you know, like huge. So like a lot of game development like people live out here, and I've known Ben like in real life. Like I've seen him like at birthday parties, I've seen him at bars, like I've done everything but work with him like in an office basically. And you know, it was just funny because like I knew he was doing Huxley stuff in the space, and you know, I know he had his whole was it the Evolution card pack thing kind of like really early on last year.
Yeah,
so I already knew he was doing cool stuff and he found success. And then just like to see him after not having seen him before COVID, you know, like just see him like in a, like it was like basically like catching up with a friend, but also running into them like completely by accident. So that was a whole extra layer of fun.
He just
and then
dresses like a sci-fi nerd, right? It's just so funny.
I mean, yeah, basically a lot of these people, you know, they're not like, yeah, like you just like it's not what you expect typically. Like just like being an artist isn't as glamorous as you might think. I'm usually just like hunched over a screen drawing like some kind of like goblin, like a dungeon goblin. Most of the time it's not like, oh man, you get to work on, I mean, it is awesome to work on cool stuff, but like, yeah, it's whatever. But like, yeah, so I don't know. I saw people I knew already, and then people I knew but hadn't met in person, and like, yeah, there wasn't any bad experience. The only part that sucked was when it ended, and then I came back, and literally everyone who I hung out with was like, "Man, I ain't feeling too hot," and we all had COVID, and I was like, "Dude, fuck." Like, I don't know if you got it. I got it though.
I'm sorry to hear that. I wanted to ask that, you know, being in Seattle, this megaplex of maybe Web3, I think it's Web3, they're evolving, you know, all these studios
there's a lot of
going to integrate play to
earn.
Are you guys still collaborating like you see in NFT Twitter? Is that like a all boats rise mentality over there? Everyone's kind of looking after each other, or do you feel like it's going to evolve with the Web3 space?
It's kind of a mixture, right? Like the Seattle area is like a cultural melting pot in many ways already. There's the gentrification and the sort of like modernization of everything that's coming in, like the new blood, right, that gets hired by the expanding tech companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, right? But then you have the people who have the more conservative way of life, who kind of don't want things to change, like whether it's businesses, institutions, or just like the local residents, like whatever the case is, you've got the new and the old, and they're kind of learning to live and work together. I think a good example of this is there was something that just happened recently, a couple weekends ago. It was NFT. I think it's just called the Seattle NFT Museum, and like it's essentially a gallery. Like I get what they're going for with museum, but it still makes me laugh because it's just like I think of like a museum as something that has like a lot of history, and it's like this thing's been around for like a week. Like,
but like give the haha sound for that.
Yeah,
right.
But it's definitely like it's a museum, and it's cool, right? And like I got asked to contribute a couple pieces, like Blake Catherine, Ted Chen, like. You know, they came in from out of town too, you know, Neon Saltwater's another like local artist that had stuff there. And actually the first guy to ever mint an NFT on the blockchain was also there and like gave a little intro, and that was cool. But then, you know, it's cool, right? This thing happened, but also people threw rocks through the windows. So that should show you like, it's not all a warm reception, like change, this kind of change. The context of the change isn't always like a smooth bumpless, ride. Like, so there's support and resistance in a lot of ways. So like, I guess this is like the long-winded way of saying like, like people are starting to sort of mind meld and work together on this whole Web 2, Web 3 thing, but it's not, without like some resistance. Like there's still, it's kind of hard, like I've talked to someone like my mom who is very conservative, very old school, very traditional Midwestern, and like she is going to pass away with her ideas, and that's fine. Like it's just it's just like I can't like change that. And like in a similar way, it's like I don't know if everyone will like embrace like a new way of thinking, and maybe they don't have to necessarily. I don't know. These are pretty like nuanced questions, right? But
they see us kind of like as aliens, you fear the unknown, that space travel, it happens everywhere. I think people who are opposing NFTs just need grace and kind of just really understand and sit down with some, to see that this technology is empowering. It's not something that's going to scam you. It's not, yes, there's a lot of that, but if you use it right, I find it so hard that everyone thinks NFTs are just JPEGs.
Like literally like an NFT, right, as a concept can be just about anything. It could be like the deed to a house or like the registration to a car, or just a JPEG. I think the JPEG thing comes from, because it's such like an easily digestible or ingestible like source of media, right? It's something you see every day. You don't really think of it as art at this point, right? It's just kind of like the interface of a website, or like the skin of pretty much anything you see visually these days, and you get to see it for free, right? And JPEGs were sort of like the springboard, like the Bungie proof of concept example of like what you could use an NFT for, right? Just slap a JPEG like with a non-fungible token, right? And it's like, okay, there it is. So like JPEGs being like the first example that the world could look at, while like they sort of woke up to the idea of like what an NFT was, which still so many people are like, I'd never even heard of this, I don't know anything about this. Like I think JPEGs are just a really simple explanation for what it could be used for, and like they were kind of the first to be popularized, I think. So like but NFTs could be way more than that, and they are, could be anything. Facts.
They really can. I love that we break down that philosophical aspect, but the artist that you are, what are you working on? I know how was working with Star Wars. Can you kind of tell me what that journey was like? Are they big corporate? Do you want to get away from that? What's the whole juice on what you've been through?
So even like if we go back a little bit further than Star Wars, like I've been doing this for a decade now. It started out in tabletop RPG with like one of my first clients ever was Magic the Gathering, and I still do work for them. It's more like world building stuff now though. The way it all works is like, there's like multiple settings that come out each year, and then like card sets that go with that setting, and it takes like an army to like build the art for the final product, but it takes a small team to like dream up the art Bible that can be referenced for each setting. And like that's more the world building stuff I do now, but like I'll still do the occasional card, right? But like I started out as like just tabletop RPG illustration stuff, and then as that picked up, I got a AAA opportunity, which took me away from the Michigan area, brought me out to the West Coast, brought me to Seattle. I started getting a taste of like the politics of like corporately run, game development. And like, I don't think that was for me, but like the sort of like camaraderie and like creative like ebb and flow and back and forth of like working in-house with the team was like really exciting to me. Like you're never going to learn more than when you're like surrounded by a bunch of people that are just way better than you are. Like you sponge it up, you like soak in their aura, you get better basically. And like I had done a few jobs like that, like Xbox, I'd done stuff for like Blue Mobile, I did stuff for a casino games company, I'd done stuff for Valve. Like I've gotten to do like the game, Amazon too, I've got to do like the game thing. And like as rewarding as the actual like product and the art itself was, it's still like a very corporately run structure. So like there's a lot of like politics involved, you know, a lot of like cooks in the kitchen kind of situation.
Yeah, I feel like I would cry if I was there. I'd be like, dude, I really just want to express myself, you know?
Dude, imagine every email that you're on, like you get assigned, like, I don't know, ballpark example, you get assigned like a weapon design a sword for the hero. Cool. Then you get CC'd with like 80 other people who literally have nothing to do with art. They're just in the email chain. And then after like 50 responses, it comes back around to you, and suddenly it's an axe now. It's not even the thing you originally like were trying to make. Like, that's what I mean. It's very like, it's very like by committee. And like in games, especially, I mean, if you talk to anyone, I don't know if Ben's ever talked about game development, but like you can work on something for like half a decade and it might not ever see the light of day. Like, it's very like, you know, stuff gets thrown out and just like crucified, like slaughtered.
I feel like Shang Tsung runs that industry for Mortal Kombat like a fucking villain, just runs that thing and taking souls.
Yeah, dude, just fatality after fatality.
It's like, damn. And I put your work on the screen, and on Super Rare, looking at your profile. Is this a culmination of just that rejection over years of working in the corporate field?
You know what, it's actually interesting. You know what I can do too, I can link you my art station, because I might have in fact I know it'll just have like a better curation to it.
Please.
People yeah, I mean, Super Rare is kind of, you know, it's
for the Dirty Eve sale. Holy shit.
I mean, I've been very fortunate, you know. I mean, there's been some good times and some very supportive collectors out there for sure, who believe in what I do and who I am, and I'm very grateful to them. I sent you a comment, ArtStation album, but yeah, basically,
what did you send it to?
Just in the chat here on stream, between us privately.
Okay.
I could throw it in your Twitter too.
Yeah, throw it on Twitter, because I don't think I have links.
No worries.
Someone said, what's your favorite project you have or currently working on? Well, you can answer that question while I pull up your ArtStation.
Yeah. So, well, can we go back to the other question that you actually?
Yeah.
Because it's a really important one. It's very formative. So, like, after, I don't know, 8 years of doing this, like, for maybe less, 6 or 7 years of doing like the just corporate thing, like basically working for people and not like with them, I decided, like, I think I'm gonna push back on these trends a little bit. Like, every time I open up big websites like ArtStation, CG Hub, whatever, everything kind of looks the same. It's good, but everyone's got technical chops, but the industry isn't really asking them to say anything meaningful with it, and everyone's saying the same thing. They're just, you know, it's almost like the PFP craze that we've seen here in the space, right, where it's like it is just sort of the same formula reskinned over and over and over again with tweaks on utility and perks, but really there hasn't been something completely different that has come out in a while. And I just wanted to say, like, I forgot somehow in like the hustle and bustle of like doing the whole corporate thing and staying relevant, and also trying to like stay afloat financially with student loan debt, medical debt, like a bunch of, you know, just the cost of living here in America. I was like, I lost my voice, and I just became this artist who could make really polished work, but it wasn't like meaningful. So what I did is I just decided to rebrand, and it wasn't like a super conscious decision, like where I was going to go with it, other than let's look back at what excited you as a young artist before you did this for money, and like, what did you just used to draw for fun? And the answer was, it was a lot of epic, you know, sci-fi fantasy type things, whether it was like Dune or Star Trek or Star Wars, or if it was, you know, it just anime, manga, you know, like all the classics, all the Miyazaki stuff, all the Otomo stuff, you know, Berserk, like you name it, right? Like huge manga. I mean, like I have an Evangelion shirt on right now, and there's Unit 1 and Unit 2 art over there, and there's a bunch of Gundams that you can't see off screen. Like, I'm a huge weeb, right? So I was like, I'm gonna like lean in that direction, and I thought about artists that I used to get excited for too, like Moebius and Sergio Topi, a lot of like traditional like Italian, French, just like European comic book artists, you know. And I just started to draw the stuff I wanted to draw again. And I was like, I have no idea if I'm going to get hired for this or not, but at least I'll be happy drawing and making art again, which is the whole point of this, right? And so, the weirdest thing happened though. Instead of getting like rejected by all these companies, they were like, dude, this is the best stuff you've ever done. Like, we want to hire you to just do you. So I ended up finding this sort of like niche aesthetic that I can sort of sell in my own way. And I like became my own sort of brand. And I'm not saying I invented surrealism or anything. I'm just saying like I have a particular thing that I do. It's pretty recognizable. And I get hired to do just that because not a lot of other people are doing it or probably could do it if they wanted to in the exact way. So yeah, through like frustration, the true identity of Robbie was formed. And that's where like the story of Numinous comes in, because that is essentially my artistic journey repackaged as a traveler, distant traveler, crash landing on an alien planet, and interacting with, you know, the local indigenous life, and like basically sort of accepting that they're a part of this world now, and like what it's like to like, you know, live in a different place, and like adjusting to that and accepting like your fate, like the way I accepted like, okay, guess what, like it turns out you just like to draw really weird stuff, and that's okay. And like, look at, you get hired to work on it, like Tool, Deadmau5, Star Wars, like all of these things that I never thought I would ever like get to do or jam on or work with, like is because of that body of work. But it took like the pain and agony of like doing the whole corporate thing and like doing the wrong kind of work and like being really upset about it, and then just saying fuck it and walking away from it to like get there to that point.
You're talented beyond measure. I mean, don't drop too much Numinous alpha, because I want to really unpack that really soon in the next 5 minutes. But yeah, dude, it's funny that you say you work on Star Wars and you see stuff like this is very manga inspired. When you worked on Star Wars, were they did they love this style? Because this style is definitely true. This style you don't see too often. I think this style, like you said, is alchemy. And what was the comparison of working on Star Wars compared to this? Because this is, you know, this is beyond the next world.
I mean, yes, like Star Wars, like so something to keep in mind, like with like Numinous is a really good place for me to like kind of like escape to mentally, because it's something that I own and I'll always own. Like, it's not stuff that I did on company time or that like some corporation can just take away from me. Like, it's what I can put everything into. And I think some people don't realize like you should own that. I believe you should own that thing outright, like whatever it is. Like you can give some of yourself to like a company, but to like be defined by someone else's property and someone else's universe and like just a paycheck, like to me it's just like not a good investment, because when you don't own it, too, you can get dropped at any second, right? Like, so I don't know, but Numinous, right, it's a separate world. Like, whereas if I have to make money, if I have to work on a project, or even if I just want to, right, like I didn't have to work on Star Wars, but it was such a influential sandbox for me, like growing up. Like, I was building like Legos, like Lego Star Wars before Lego partnered with Star Wars. That's how horny I was about Star Wars, right? And like I had to say yes to that opportunity, but I still think of like Numinous as like that's the ultimate goal in the end, right? That's freedom. That's like you, and that's what you're always meant to like work on. But you make these sort of pit stops along the way. It's almost like you're driving to your home, but you're like stopping at really awesome Airbnbs on the way. They're amazing, 5 stars, but like it's just not quite home. And that's how I look at something even as amazing as Star Wars. And it has been great working on Star Wars. I got to work on it, animated TV show type stuff. Not exactly in the style that I do, but it does require that stylization. It's not the live action photorealistic stuff. And like, you know, yeah, I mean, you like that technique, that whole like flat color with like line work on top. That's a technique that gets utilized in illustration and comics, but it also gets utilized in like design sheets for like, you know, characters, props, vehicles, you know, like that art has a place in the concept art pipeline, especially for game development. So, you know, that style had its place, and really an art director looks at something like that. And, you know, if you look at a technique like photo bashing, right, which is where you take like photography and you sort of smudge it around and you almost collage it together and then you work on top of it, versus something that you just have to draw completely by hand. It shows a sense of like competence in design and critical thinking if you can like world build with just line work. So like, you know, rather than relying on like photography to like fill in those gaps. And I'm not saying one is superior to the other. I'm just saying I think an art director on Star Wars could look at someone who can just think and problem solve and design from scratch and go like, that is like an ideal candidate for like someone that can help solve the problems we're trying to address here, like as we build in the world of Star Wars. So
I feel like just like you were inspired by Star Wars, your work now with this new generation that's rising are going to get inspired by your true authentic self here, because like you said, it's like these corporations are rigid enough that they don't want to explore new lands, and you're just like, oh, there's new lands to the west, let's take a boat, and then you find yourself in that. I want you to see this piece of yours and kind of break it down. I don't know if you're watching the stream. But,
hold up, let me see.
I want to know what the hell is going on in your mind.
Where? Oh, I'm looking at the stream right now.
Give it like 10 seconds. Don't make sure it's muted. But there's a picture here that's like what's going on in your head here.
Oh, the
you
mold
see this
witch.
in a dream?
Yeah, you know what? Here. Let me grab a copy of the book. I have a couple still printed.
Is this a book that you created?
Yeah. Numinous. Numinous is a book, man. It's a few books actually, but only one of them has actually been like made. So just real quick, in 2019, Emerald City Comic Con, that's our big Comic Con here, I had a table, and I managed to finish one book. I wanted to do like a giant ancient tome, and it ended up being something like that I could basically put out one a year, almost like comic size, keep it digestible, keep it obtainable, and keep it fresh in the minds of people, right? And like each year I would release an installation that could eventually maybe fund the Kickstarter for like, the big one. But, then COVID hit and a bunch of other shit. So like I only have the one done right now, but, Numinous, if you take a look, right? Ooh. Let me just crack it open for you. The Mold Witch, which is the character you're talking about, is actually...
Before you do that, Numinous is what? What would you say in 2 sentences? What is that flagship? What is it?
I mean, like Numinous, like I didn't create the name. Like it's actually already out there, but essentially it means sort of like otherworldly, ethereal, like transcendent, almost spiritual, which, oh man, how do I
elemental on another dimension.
I would say so, yeah. Like an ethereal plane of existence is like the best way to put it.
Whoa, dude.
And it's just not from here, right? And like, why would you limit if you could make anything in the world? Why? Like, I'll compare like something like Numinous to like Call of Duty, right? A team can get hired to work in Call of Duty, and unless we're going to space or something, you're just going to be drawing like stuff that already exists in the real world, stuff that you can pretty much go outside and
you can only draw the same Kevlar so many times.
Yeah. Like, but like my thinking is, I was like, wait, you can travel across the stars, and we're just drawing like the same shit over and over and over again. Like, and that's where my thinking is I'm like, I want to transcend the current plane of existence and like really go for something different, because we're allowed to do. You need to tell me we can do whatever the fuck we want to do, and we're doing the same old shit. Not for me, dude.
You're telling me you weren't on acid making this at all?
Dude, I know. People are always like, yo, dude, like what's the dosage, bruh? And I'm like, dude, no. Like, I can't even be high when I draw. Like, I'm useless. Like,
I'm
completely useless.
blown.
But see, so like, if you can see, right, like it's a book filled with illustrations like this, right? And like, so you've got the traveler, right? They're, they've crash landed on this, this planet, right? And it's this sort of like graphic novel type layout where like you're sort of reading passages written by the traveler as if, they're filling out, this sort of like visual, like a field journal or like a visual diary.
Oh, wow.
Right? And they're
from two different perspectives.
Yeah. They're basically like recording
Mediums.
their interactions. With the with the world and everything, and at one point the Mold Witch, which is the character you're talking about, does come in. Let me see if I can find it. But the thinking behind the Mold Witch is that here we go. The Mold Witch. So basically, the on its drums, which sort of act as its eyes. Imagine like shifting hieroglyphics that kind of work like a Rorschach. like the Rorschach mask in like Watchmen, how it's like always changing shapes.
Yeah.
Essentially, like those shapes are like a way to communicate with the traveler, right? And like they're sort of like just symbols, and eventually the traveler records enough of them and writes down a library of each one of the symbols and is basically trying to like decipher what this mold witch is saying to them, right? And I don't want to like give it away or anything, but like basically like my thinking with that right there was like if in a world where like things couldn't necessarily speak, and if they could speak, it wasn't in just English, human English, like how would they communicate with you? This is the same thing I got tasked with when I was like working on Love, Death and Robots originally back in 2019. Is the brief at the time was like two astronauts crash land on a planet, one of them dies, the planet absorbs the dead person's sort of sentient being, and then through the like topology and geography of the planet, this dead astronaut is trying to communicate with the other astronauts. So they're like, how does a planet talk to a person? But it's just made of rocks. Like, how do you, so like my whole thing was like, I try to figure out ways to like show communication, and I was coming up with all kinds of weird things like crystals, could maybe like, form like or like foliage or rocks could form like, the shape of a person's face, codes, or anything, all kinds of stuff, maybe like wisps of gas or like gaseous nebulous clouds. It's kind of like the whole Mufasa scene in like the Lion King, stuff like that. Like I was trying to think, and it's the same thing here, right, where it's like you've got this weird world of Numinous where like, have you ever seen Annihilation?
No.
In the movie Annihilation, there's this thing called the Shimmer, which is like this like weird like a chromatically aberrated bubble that sort of like takes over like a little section of like a remote jungle in the world. And this group of female scientists like go into the Shimmer, and what they find is a bunch of crazy fucked up like almost like I don't know, like Jodorowsky's Dune level type stuff, right, where it's like all kinds of things are getting rearranged, and like
is that
like
movie with Natalie Portman?
Yeah. Like her and a bunch
of
for
the audience to see.
Dude, it's such a mind fuck. But like, really, in the Shimmer though, like I'm not gonna like ruin it or anything, but let's just say that there's a world that sort of does what it does, like without discretion, similar to like a cancer almost. That just like it's not inherently evil, but it's like a black hole. Like it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and if you get caught in its path, like it is what it is, and like that could be a good or a bad outcome kind of thing. Similarly, it's like Numinous is just this world that's constantly rearranging and shrinking and growing and dissecting and segmenting and fusing all kinds of stuff. So like in a world like that, the creatures that do exist in it, what would they look like and how would they talk to you? And like that's where like the idea of like hieroglyphics came in, like, and there's a lot of that stuff too, in Numinous. Like I could see because the Mole Witch has so many appendages and arms behind it, maybe it just does weird assortments of sign language or like arrangements of arms, to communicate with you that way. But it could be anything. That's the cool thing about space magic, man, is you can do anything you want.
You are a wizard, dude. You are a magician here. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of artists on the show, and you have the Ben Marlows, and looking at you, my eyes are glossy because this art is different from what I've seen. Now I'm literally getting into collecting all diversities here, but to do what you done, not on acid, not on any drugs, like who are you, right? Who the fuck are you?
Man, I'm just someone who wants to see something different. Like I don't know, I see the same stuff over and over again every day, and like at a certain point it's just not like interesting. But like I appreciate it. I'm really happy the work speaks to you. I like when I made all this, it wasn't targeted at a specific audience. There was no assurance that it would be successful or even well received. I just genuinely enjoyed doing it, and I think that substance is what resonates with people. No matter what it is you're working on, right? It's like when someone phones in a performance versus gives it like the DiCaprio treatment, and it's just like, even if you don't get the awards for years, you're still like making a fucking awesome performance, right? Like, and that's really what matters at the end of the day, is like enjoy the thing you're doing. So this
Hold
is
on,
what
I
I
gotta
like
give you
to
the
do.
alpha plays only. Alpha plays only. Look, how is Numinous entering the Web3 space? How can I collect these characters? Are you going PFP mode? Are you trying to take this to the movie cinema? Like, how can my audience get involved in Numinous on the ground level?
So like PFPs are an interesting thing, and it's something I had considered, but it ended up being I don't know, I've seen like what comes with like the whole PFP project, and like it's a great way to build a community. Like I think the Bored Ape Yacht Club is like a great example of that, right? Where it's like, I don't know, I kind of liken it to like Lamborghini comes in and becomes like another Ferrari versus like, you know, there were just punks and then there were apes, right? And now they're both kind of unobtainable.
Do you have an ape?
I did. It ended up selling. Like I had it sold as like a joke price for like a really long time, and then it like just sold. Like it was like 69 ETH. And
it's okay because now you're taking that into a whole nother level. We're evolving here. We're going.
I have a mutant though. Like I mutated him, and it's like I still have. I mean, I guess I'm still in the club.
That's
technically, right?
That's so your
yeah. Honestly, a mutant's like aesthetically way more. But, I would say.
But Numinous. So PFP kind of corny.
Like I don't think PFP is the move. Eventually I think it could. I mean, I want this thing. I was saying this back in 2017. I was like, this thing could be. It could be an AR game. It could be like a VR puzzle game. It could be like an anime. You know, at the time before all this blockchain stuff, I would have said, get that Netflix deal, son. And I'm not saying don't get that next Netflix deal. I'm just saying like it could be anything, but you could also not wait on Netflix and you could just do it yourself. There's a lot of ways you could do this. So I want it to be an anime eventually. I want it to be something that is not just a book, but can like be experienced like visually, whether that's like seeing it on a screen or just walking into like a physical installation and, you know, like experiencing it that way, like almost like a museum or something. It could be a bunch of things. I think anime is the next step, like after finishing the book, but I do have a key holder project, which is like, there was like 400 editions of these keys that went out. It was like in June, I want to say June last year. And it sort of worked as sort of like a patronage, like membership pass, you know, like gated content like that exists in the world of Numinous, but is like, you know, only for the holders, you know, essentially of these keys. And the project has slowed a bit. Like it's true, just because of like, you know, like life and how stuff has gone.
I need to
like,
buy a key then. Fuck it.
Go on OpenSea. They're out there right now. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, send me the link, and maybe I'll show the link to the audience at the end, and then you guys could kind of hop on some alpha, because I know you are connected, and I see a lot of potential in this. And I ended up buying your homie Mateo Santoro's Sift supply.
Dude, so you swooped it.
I
nice.
swooped it.
We're actually, so I'll tell you right now.
Which is crazy, because before you say that, this is why I knew to buy it, because he mentioned you, and I'm like, these connections are fucking sending off signals in my brain. This is alpha.
It's okay, so it's really funny that you like showed the Mold Witch, because I'll put it this way. We hooked up through a platform called Legend, and it was for this like Basel thing last year. And like I saw him doing like 3D reinterpretations of artists' work, and I just reached out to him and it's like, hey man, your stuff's dope. I see you worked with Tool. Like I worked with Tool a little bit too. He looks up to you, by the way. Dude, I look up to him. It's a mutual respect. Mateo's incredible, and he's like super handsome too, which I was like,
I'm like, why are your eyes? Why are you looking?
Dude,
at me
I know.
That,
I'm like, dude.
He's like
wanna...
Right,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. I was like, I'm, you know, very striped. Like, I think I want to fuck Mateo, no, but like, but he definitely, he's just this like really charismatic, super vibing dude, and we worked on a piece together, and it's gonna be, I don't want to like say too much, but like, let's just say that it might be like a dynamic NFT that might change with like the seasons or the time of year, or, you know, it depends. We're looking into the possibilities, but it is based on the Mold Witch, and I've seen like a living animated version of this Mold Witch, and I'm like,
what did that do to you mentally?
I mean, it's always exciting to see because I've seen my stuff like in video game pipelines get animated, but it was never for Numinous, and it was never good. I've had like 3D artists contact me and be like, yo, you know, I did some fan art. I'm like, that's cool. But it's not like Raph Grassetti's doing the fan art, you know what I mean? But then like Mateo comes along and I'm like, this is amazing interpretation of what I did. And he like, you know, he took liberties with it and they were good decisions. Like he reinterpreted essentially. And like, I'm just really excited to like get this thing out there. And I will let you know as soon as we figure out where that's going, but that's more of like an experiment, but like, it's like a different artist take on like what I've done already, but it is Numinous. It is the Mold Witch. It's a Mateo X Trevino collab.
Ooh,
and
fucking
whenever that's ready, like we will roll it out. Like we're shopping it around and trying to figure out the best place for it to live. Cause you know, NFTs are an interesting, you know, thing. This isn't March 2021 anymore. You can't just like put something out and then it's like good to go. Like, you know, you gotta plan a little bit. So
sure. I know, but anyway, with my dojo and collecting his piece, you know, I have a community here and we kind of see you guys as kind of like the knights at the round table. You know, you got your Bens, your Robbies, your Mateos, and these people are coming together and they're making our imagination salivate, you know, and they're here with thunderous, you know, artistic ability. And you guys are very few and far between. I know you must be grateful to be at this point. This is kind of fate in a sense,
dude. I mean, like this is definitely one of the things that attracted me to the space. Like, yes, I'm not gonna lie, the money definitely did. Like, people are fucking lying if they're saying like that's
keep
not
it
the
real,
case.
bro.
No, dude, I do. I'm like, there are times where I want to go on Twitter and be like, can we just say we like money, like just once, just say it, just so we know. Okay, we all know. But that aside,
virtual signaling.
For me, the money though is runway to reinvest in your own creative endeavors. Because up to this point, you think I'd be working for other studios if I didn't have to? No, but like I got to pay the bills somehow. This whole art thing, your own personal art, doesn't exactly net you the financial freedom, you know. But something like monetizing it, like in something like this space, you know, like kind of trying to like cultivate a community or a collective or a group of collectors around this to like further finance those things, right? Like every big NFT purchase that I've had, right? Like a 30 ETH sale or something, right? That was weeks of conversation with the collector where they got to know who they were investing in, like who they were betting their chips on, right? Like you're investing in a person, not just a product, but you know, you're casting your vote for more of the thing that they do for years to come. So it's like this investment in a person and like their vision. And so like I saw all of that potentially as like what could happen here, you know, in the space, right? And it's like, well, of course, for someone who builds worlds, you know, like Ben or, you know, name anyone else, or I guess even myself, right? It's like, yeah, like this is like a perfect opportunity to do that. So like that's what I saw in the space was like, oh man, you have a chance to like grow your thing and to like not do it with like the corporate overlords either. Because like I've worked at companies where if you even like talk about some stuff that we're talking about like on company time, it could be like, we own that now, like per contract, because you like thought of it in our studio, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just crazy. And I'm like,
those overlords,
you know what I mean? Like, no. I looked at it as freedom and like you get to do what you want to do basically.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome, you know. That's why I've helped people out with their projects. You know, I've worked with like Pixel Vault and other like companies, like advised and like done, you know, work. But like really at the end of the day, I'm just here to make the Numinous thing and, you know, like in like hopefully, you know, start to collaborate with other talents, like someone like Mateo, you know, like.
Yeah, I could really see you guys collaborating on his movie idea here.
Dude, I would be in his movie. I'd be like an extra or something, or like one of like the cowboys. Like
easy,
I would,
bro. Easy.
Yeah.
Let's throw a bunch of mud and dirt on your face. Get you some of those biker gloves, and then you know I would love your IPs to cross. You know, there's so many cool interoperabilities here. This is just such an exciting.
How could you see the two like cross pollinating?
I mean, in his robot designs, they have that otherworldly flesh mech, and I just see that you can be that guy that designs those robots on an ethereal level, if you have the story develop more and more into other dimensions. But
I mean, I guess the thing about Numinous is because it is kind of like this gravitational well. Maybe like one of Mateo's cowboys just like accidentally rides into like he's on a sand plane, and suddenly it's like, what's all this like weird floaty flesh stuff? Oh, is this like Numinous? And then suddenly the cowboy
tilts and it becomes grassy from the dune sand.
Yeah,
you're in Numinous.
And then suddenly like just imagine like Mateo's like handsome face, but he's like an anime character, right? It's like suddenly he becomes the style. It's kind of like those, what's that movie Cool World with like Brad Pitt? You know what I'm talking about?
Dude, you're a fucking legend with the movie shout outs. I don't know Cool World.
Dude,
Annihilation, Cool World on my list now.
But like cool. So like I'm just talking about the thing like what is it? Who Framed Roger Rabbit or whatever, where it's like live action goes with like, imagine like almost like there's a transition. I don't think I want that like as the aesthetic, but Mateo becomes like a Numinous character, or the other way around. Maybe one of these only like stylized anime looking things becomes like 3D hyper rendered like real world in Mateo's universe. There's a few ways to there's not a few, there's infinite ways that this could go, and that's the cool thing about basically getting to do whatever the fuck you want to do. I think Artifact, the shoe company, I think they said it like really well last year, where they just kind of tweeted out like, and they tweet stuff all the time, but like one of the tweets was just like, we love doing whatever the fuck we want to do. And I just like, I read that and I was like, yeah, it's pretty nice.
Fucking, it's freedom. It's freedom. It's free. I wanted to say, I always ask everybody, you're no exception. If you could be a robot, human, or a human, cyborg, or alien, which one are you going to be and why?
So human, cyborg, or alien? Man, I think I like the idea of being a human cyborg, because like an alien, I guess aliens could be literally anything, but like a human cyborg, I feel like you're kind of playing God, and you're in like sort of like an alchemist sort of way. You're doing things that like nature was never meant to do. Like you're fusing man and machine. And like, I think back to like, I mean, yeah, just like, it doesn't always seem to end well in like Hollywood, like fiction, right? But like, like I'm thinking like Skynet and Terminator and stuff, but like, I don't know, like you're basically just like fusing two things completely together that you were never supposed to. And like the results can be this completely
very
like,
forbidden fruits.
Yeah. And you're going into like completely uncharted, undocumented territory, right? Like have you ever watched like those like atomic bomb documentaries, or just like on like, like the science of like nuclear fission and all that? Like I got really into that stuff way before Chernobyl popped off on HBO. I was like super into this stuff. And like, again, I know it's like devastating weapons and like nuclear fallout and all these bad things, but like just the concept of like, you're literally like defying what nature said you were allowed to do. Like you're basically like going against like God, like essentially, and you're being like, I am the captain now, like, or whatever, and like similarly, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So just the idea of like, fusing man and machine, right? A cyborg, a cybernetic organism. I mean, also like cyborgs just look fucking dope, dude. Like, I mean, I think so. Like
they're
aliens
dope,
look
bro.
cool
We
too, but
haven't even scratched the surface. We are in the pre annihilation phase of our world, and it's nice. It's nice to see Boston Dynamics and all this shit popping, and we're gonna see a wave.
Dogs.
We're gonna see a wave coming, and I know with especially what you're gonna do, bro. I mean, I'm pretty sure you'll have a robot. You'll have a bunch of things involved.
I mean, dude, if I could, man, tell me you've seen Grandma's Boy. You had to have seen Grandma's Boy. Okay, JP with his like, he's like I was thinking about getting metal legs. It's a risky procedure, but I know it'll be worth it. Like, like that's how I am though. I'm like, man. Dude. I don't know. I think if one of my arms was like a robotic appendage or something, that might be really cool. Like, I don't know.
Your
I could be
Metamorph says, fuck
completely
the
wrong,
rules.
though.
Cyborgs create our own path to Valhalla. It's exactly Valhalla awaits in this whole jazz that we're doing. Dude,
What about you though? Real quick, I don't want to go over too much, but you, cyborg or alien?
I'm going alien. I'm going straight up alien, maybe a Palladian or Atlantean, telepathic, can heal and stuff and still have my sex organs. I'm just really simple. I'm a simple man.
Okay, I like the sex organs thing. I'd keep the junk. I'd keep the bits too if I was
The
like
junk, or maybe a rib cage that comes out and then attaches. You know what I mean? As long as I'm feeling my dopamine,
just like a little on the side here, like
a fucking
like a
pocket.
catheter, like a catheter or something. It's funny, dude.
Dude, what you got working on in quarter 2 before we roll out of here? What's coming down the pipeline for Numinous, Robbie Trevino, the whole jazz? I need to know. The dojo needs to know.
Like, other than like, some cool collaborative content that is keyholder exclusive, right? Like, I've got some stuff going on with Rengoku Legends with the Omnimorphs. Those are 2 really cool projects. Check them out. Rengoku is like a customizable samurai PFP thing, like in a feudal Japan with a bunch of like clans and lore. And then what's the other one? Omnimorphs, that's Daniel Taylor's, sort of like anime inspired like PFP project, also very cool. There's a few collabs going on. There might be a few things with like some of the bigger art houses, which is a direction I've really been trying to go into, like other than I'm trying to get some stuff on the books, like
he's going to
drop.
Christie's.
Oh god. Well, maybe, who knows, but I like working with established institutions might be a thing, but there might be some new stuff, right? There's all kinds of teams and companies that form out of the ether, and then amazing talent collaborate together. So there's a lot of interesting things that are like, maybe it's a lot of maybes right now, but like for certain, like collaborative stuff that will like go to key holders. Also working on a shoe with a company, like a boutique shoe designer company. It's going to be based off the Nike Air Jordan 1. That'll be dropping in spring, because we're going for a whole like bloom, like vegetative floral bloom thing. And if you want to get an idea about what it kind of looks like, you can look at an idea I had for like a flowery shoe on my Instagram, and like it's almost looks like that, but I can't release it just yet. But like around spring, actual shoe that you can buy, and there might be an NFT element involved too.
Are you a sneaker collector, sneakerhead too?
I'm starting to get into sneakers. I'm a skateboard collector. Like that's my thing. Like I fucking love skateboards, and I'm talking with Revive and potentially DGK about some stuff.
Ooh, Dirty Ghetto Kids, cool. Let's go. You're perfect for Dirty Ghetto Kids.
Oh, I think so. I skated so much when I was a kid. I can't now because I'll die. But like, what else? Oh yeah, and just like I'm trying to move into like car stuff a bit. Like I'm a big car guy. Like I have a car that I really love, but then I also
what's the car? You're the motor. You're the muscle man out here.
2016 C7 Corvette, supercharged headers, X pipe, catback delete, catalytic delete. So the thing is ridiculously powered, and it's super loud, and it's just raw American muscle, and it's a manual. None of this like automatic bullshit.
Let's go,
sorry
fucking
people.
I
want to drive.
Sticky.
I drive. I considered like an electric car as like maybe I'll get a Tesla, but then I was like, I don't want to drive like a cell phone. I want like the analog raw experience of like basically being linked up like a Navi to their Banshee.
Yeah, I want to hear those gears grind if I fuck up.
Yeah. I want to see my car. I want to see my art on cars. So like moving into like car wrap design stuff too. Like I said, I'm doing something for Deadmau5 and his McLaren, one of his McLarens. So like I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's not just, that's the thing. That's why like I don't, when someone goes like, you're an NFT artist, and I go, I'm an artist. I just happen to make NFTs also, but like do a bunch of I do everything, man. Like it's just one facet of many, one creative outlet. NFTs is a part of that. So
dude, it was a pleasure to have you on here. You're more than an artist to me. You're a creative alchemist. This guy's alchemizing creativity. Huge. You don't really see that often, but seeing his work, seeing the collabs, who he knows, Definitely a power fucking force. This is the part of the stream, beloved, where we allow you to channel your inner sensei. You can marry somebody on here. You can shill a project. You have to let your sensei come out of your heart. You can say anything you want, but make sure it's zen as fuck or whatever, honestly. Here's the gong. Hold up. You heard the gong. It's the gong there.
Dude, so like, look, it's like some of like the preachiest advice ever, but like, dude, if you don't enjoy the thing you're doing, like, I get why you do it, but like, don't fucking do it, or don't do it forever. Like, the amount of times I see people like what's the advice for someone looking to get into this space or just get into art in general, right? Like, it's obvious, but it's like, just do the stuff you want to do. Like, I started doing that, and then I did a bunch of stuff I thought I had to do, forgot who I was, ended up hating everything, then made the long journey back. I'm telling you to just skip all that bullshit and just do what you want to do. Otherwise, what is the point of doing it, you know? And like, I never set out to like make money because like an artist that was ever an option. Like, I grew up in the Midwest, everyone laughed at me. You want to make art for a living? But like, okay, but what do you're an artist, cool, but like, what do you do for money, right? And you're just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah, I'm a fucking soulless salesman.
Yeah. No.
Are you happy
listen.
now?
No, listen, like, just do what you want to do, whatever that may look like. It might not make you the most successful, but like, really, like, what should be considered the biggest measurement of success is just like how enriching and satisfying this thing is that you're doing. And if it doesn't add to your life, don't do it. Like, it's as simple as that, you know. Build it and they will come, you know, like the right people will find what you're doing and they'll support it, you know, as long as it's genuine and speaks to them. And it will, if it is genuine, and it will be genuine because you love doing it, because that's all you're going to do. So do the shit you want to do. And like, that's pretty much the one thing I have to say. Other than that, look at, I'm just going to shout at Mateo again, because like that SIF thing is like, if all that stuff doesn't sell out, like, I'm going to burn the space down. Cause like, it's amazing. Like, he literally donated, he committed months of time to like building props in his backyard, you know, like this thing should be like an entire series, like a whole cinematic universe with like a theme park with rides and stuff, right? So like, and I guess you got the Genesis piece, right? So
yeah, and then my homie Metamori ended up getting the other one, so there's one more left. So
which one is what's the last one?
It's the final one.
Damn, has anyone bid on it yet? I might bid on it.
I mean, Metamori, if you give the homie the pass, let him have it, but please give me time to grab the third one. Peter E is what you guys, I mean, we all can share the pot here. There's a bunch of legends in this thing, so
we could just form a DAO, call it like the Mateo DAO, and just like all go in on his piece together and just fractionalize it or something, or just like share it, you know.
For real, I'm down. Like I said, my piece is down for the dojo. I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna show Alpha. I literally, when I saw it, I had to buy it. Seeing your stuff, I have to buy it. If you had something for 5e for in that range, I'm going right now, in essence, to scoop up Robbie Trevino shit, because I think having all these pieces, the Parallels, the Watcher, the Huxley, the Robbie Trevinos, the Sith, this is the Knights at the Round Table. And we got to get some girls in there. Where are the girls at that are killing it? Give me some names, man.
Let's see. I know this is what's tricky, is like so many of the female artists that I know like haven't joined the space yet. Like, I mean, you can just check out their artwork if you want and like just support them. I mean, the goal is to support them anyway, right? But if you're asking about like actual NFT work that they've done, like not many, like most of them, like, I mean, Blake Catherine's like the #1 first draft pick, but she's already popping. Like, she took off ages ago, right? She's doing just fine. But if I could shout her out, yeah, you know, like Smakia is another one. Awesome. I don't know if you know who Smakia is. Shams. Trudy, it's Baka Arts' girlfriend. She goes by T Fairy, I think is how you say it. I just call her Trudy, but T Fairy is another really good one. Like female artists outside of the space who are just amazing. Like, check out Carla Ortiz. Like, she's worked on pretty much every like Marvel movie that's come out in the last like 5 or 6 years. Like, she's awesome. Not into NFTs at the moment, you know, maybe someday, but like she's just an amazing artist and has done a lot for the community. Who else? I'm trying to think. I'll think a little bit. If you make like, have you ever thought of like just like doing like a female, like just like a list of ladies, like shout out the lady list?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have them on the show. I mean, I have females, Steffi Fung, making metaverse fashion stuff, but I need to find the diamonds in the rough that are in the NFT space, so then I can start collecting. Um, there's a lot of stuff in the works here, but we'll get to
Ooh,
that.
Siobhan Wong. Do you know Siobhan?
Yeah, link that to me, and now I'll see it after the show. But Metamori says 100% will stand down if someone else is going for it. Honestly, Metamori, don't stand down. Because me and you found the alpha. Honestly, at the end of the day, if you give Robbie the blessing, go for that piece, bro. Go for that piece.
I mean, I'll go for it, but I'd rather see Mateo just get some insane, like I'd rather there be a bidding war and I lose and Mateo just gets what he deserves, which is like an amazing floor price. And if that means I lose, like, I'm fine with that.
I say it's gonna happen for the final one. Something's happening for that final one. There's only one left.
Yeah.
But this is inspiring because I feel like now me holding that we're all gonna be working together. I mean, there's something happening here. I love your vibe. I'm just a little dumb sensei in the corner, but I'm here to support, and I'm here to go. I'm here to see you win, beloved. Yo, it was great talking to you. Like I really,
likewise,
it was effortless, and we got to do it again,
dude. I mean, I completely agree, man. It was super easy chatting in New York, and I was like, oh, like we're doing the same thing, just less pizza smell, more like through a camera on Zoom, but same vibes.
For sure. I just got a bunch of these Ricolas, and that's it. I just minty ass now, but we gotta get a pie, deep dish, whatever. We definitely. Are you going to NFT LA?
When's that happening?
That's happening in April, and then there's NFT Vegas, NFT Land, Token Smart thing that's happening March 23rd to the 26th.
I might actually, like real talk, I might actually be moving to LA like around like April or May. Yeah, I mean, I'm my lease is coming to an end, and I think it's time for me to move on from the PNW. But like, I plan on being there. I'm gonna be in LA anyway for like a Freeze LA thing / like Joshua Tree thing like mid next month, but like I keep going out there for stuff every month, and I'm like, did you just fucking live here? Like, why do you
just live there with the horrible taxes there? Just fuck it.
It's a little smelly, it's a little dirty, maybe, but like it is 100 cities in one, and there's like an energy to that place. I don't know, something about LA, man. I don't know what it is, but I really like LA.
For real.
But yeah, no, I think if it's happening in April, man, I'll probably be there.
Yeah, I can't wait to vibe out with you with the gang, and I know it's just gonna be fun. The circle is growing smaller and smaller. It's getting bigger and bigger, slowly though. Dude, I appreciate you, audience. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. Live the dream. Eat ice cream, and above all, stay content. You can stay in the Zoom for a second. We're going to outro. Later, guys. Peace.
See ya.